Hello Cancer, and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name's Colette and I'm here today to do a reading for Cancer Sun, Moon, Venus and Rising. If you don't know where your Moon, Venus and Rising signs are, I will be putting a free astrological link in the description box down below for you to go and check out where those placements are. Maybe do a little bit more research for yourselves if you haven't already. And if this message doesn't resonate with you, Cancer, because it is just a general reading, then maybe you'll also find more information and more insights in the other readings that I've put out that relate to whichever signs you have for your Moon, Venus and Rising. Confusing myself there. So Cancer, we have started your reading today with the heart of it being the Justice card. And this is in reverse, at the very heart of your reading. And so I'm going to say that there's a situation here which didn't seem very fair. Something wasn't right for you. Something wasn't equally balanced. Something wasn't cooperative. Two sides of this scales weren't balanced. It was like there was disharmony and just a general feeling that that what you hoped for hadn't turned out the way that you would have liked it to. I don't get the feeling of this being very strongly about legal issues, but it could be for some of you Cancerians out there. There could be legal sides to this as well. I always liken the kind of chessboard as well in the background as being kind of the roles that we have to play in our lives, that we each kind of take on different characters and different roles. And so there could also be a feeling that somebody who you thought was one way turned out to be something else. But there's just a general feeling with this card in reverse of things not being fair, not being in your favour. And it's covered today, Cancer, by the King of Wands. There he is, sitting on his throne. Very Aries card. He's got the ram's heads here. He's got a ram in the background. It's a very Aryan type card. And I find it interesting because I kind of noticed this when the two came out together, that these are opposite signs. You've got Libra here, a representation of the Libra energies, and the King of Wands here is very much about the kind of representation of the Aries energies. So you've got both air and fire here. And so there's a sense that maybe things kind of blew up as well in your face in some way, Cancer, in an unexpected kind of way. The King as your challenge, I feel, is kind of saying that there's a better way to look at this, that not to be so, I always kind of liken this card to being hot-headed and kind of maybe short-tempered, maybe quite superficial in some ways as well. It can be kind of somebody who just looks at the surface of things and doesn't go any deeper. And that's not just because it's an Aries card, it's just that it's more about the head, and the head kind of, in this sense, is just very very quick. They're very kind of, they want to move on without looking too deeply into things. So this is what's covering this Justice card here today. And so I think what it's saying is try to kind of take a bit more time, try to kind of try not to rush things, try not to don't overlook things, don't overlook details here. Whether that's legal matters or whether that's just in general in your life at the moment, Cancer. That you might want to move on really quickly. But there's cause for you here to kind of take more time. And kind of maybe also look at things with more of a creative mindset. And maybe also something about taking responsibility here as well in some way. Because the King of Wands doesn't necessarily find it easy to take responsibility. They are the fire signs, the Aries, the Leo and the Sagittarius signs, who are all very spontaneous, kind of freedom loving energy. So this could be somebody that you are or have been involved with, Cancer. It doesn't have to be a king, it doesn't have to be a man, it can also be a woman, it can be the masculine energy within a woman. So the energy is really what this card is about, and it's come out also with the Six of Fire, which is the card of victory. Usually it's the card of victory, but for me here it's kind of saying this is more about rising above things, because it's like a hot air balloon here. There's lots of like little balloons all around it. So there is a sense of victory, but that victory will be achieved by you rising above the situation. By you not kind of being hot-headed or being too quick to respond, or not taking your time over things. And it also has come out with the Ten of Wands here. So the Ten of Wands is all about kind of, it's almost like you move from the 6 into the 10 very quickly. And so this is a completion. This is a letting go, really. Although here you are, you're sitting here and you're kind of still very much, I feel, in that kind of stuck in the place of why, how didn't it work? Why didn't it work? I put so much effort into it. I tried everything I could, and I still had to leave this situation. I still had to rise above it. I still had to move beyond it. That's another thing about the King of Wands as well, is that he's quick to kind of move beyond the boundaries, if you like. Like if you think of fire, it kind of moves very fast. Once it catches, it kind of, that's it. It's like, and it can just run away with itself. So there is a sense of that here in this card as well. And it can also be kind of self-oppression as well. It can also be an energy of kind of bringing you down, not allowing you to go beyond the point that you've reached so far, because you can't see any solution. You can't see any kind of anything beyond that point. It's kind of, you've just kind of become really stuck in seeing things from the same energy, from the same how can I put it? I've got this saying in my head again, a kind of you can't solve a problem from the same level that created it. And this is kind of how I'm feeling about this at the moment, that the level of creation of whatever this problem was, you've got to kind of rise above that. to see it differently in order to be able to move beyond it. So that's what's at the centre and at the heart of your reading. And what is below you is the Page of Pentacles. This is in your subconscious at the moment. And I get the feeling that this is about you, the creation, the kind of whatever it was that you were putting your time and your energy and your effort into. It's like it's a young energy, it's a new energy in the sense of, well, I say young rather than new, really, an energy that needs to be nurtured and grown. And it always reminds me of these little seeds here being planted for the future. So I feel that that's what this was about. It was about you kind of wanting to build your future, wanting to create something that was going to be long lasting and sustaining. You've got his little coin here and he's kind of holding it close to his chest, and he's kind of saying, you know, what can I do with this? What is the value of this? Where am I going to put this to make it work for me, to make it multiply so I can reap the benefits of it? Well, it's come out with a King of Air. And today I'm getting the feeling with this King of Air in reversed that this is about this situation that didn't turn out the way it was kind of seen, or the way it was planned, the way it was thought it was going to work out. A similar energy somehow to this Justice card as well, because they're both swords, they're both kind of air energy. And the King of Swords, when he's upright, he has this great ability to kind of pierce through things and really see things clearly. But I get the feeling that this was about something that was very unexpected in a way, something that was very, you didn't have that ability, Cancer. You didn't manage to see through this, you didn't kind of see it coming, you didn't perceive it. There's a sense of it just kind of coming from nowhere, and it brought with it the Devil, which is all about fears. So it brought up for you, Cancer, a lot of your own fears and things that you've kept in the dark. That side of yourself that you've not wanted to acknowledge in many ways has had to be faced. And it could even still be, this could be an ongoing scenario or situation now as well, because it's in your subconscious. It's also something that you're not so aware of. And it's a major arcana card. And it's upside down. So it's kind of saying to me that this situation is something that needs to be resolved. It needs to be looked at. You need to take the time to kind of look at your own fears of things, why you're not, why you hold yourself back, why you stop yourself from kind of achieving what you really want to achieve. Because the Devil is kind of a representation of our own nature, really. And the Devil is kind of calling the shots, calling the tune. He's got these panpipes here, and so he's playing to these, and he's getting them to dance on the end of his cord. These humans down the bottom here, and these kind of naked humans. And so he kind of has this control over them, in the sense of them not being empowered. They're not empowered, they're not empowering themselves. They're actually quite capable of just releasing themselves from this energy, but they're not doing so. And I get the feeling it's kind of similar to this here as well, a kind of oppression. This oppressive energy that you're kind of sitting in, and you're not really allowing yourself to move forward because you're not really wanting to look at it. Cancer. And it's come out also with the 5 of Cups, so something definitely went askew here. Whatever this was, whatever this energy was, and I feel it was a relationship that has caused a great deal of, I suppose on some level, soul searching. But you're still not out of that darkness. You've still not come out of that yet, Cancer. It's very much around your being, shall we say. Around, it's like this energy still kind of hanging on to you. I will just say though, for Cancerians at this time, you have had Pluto and Saturn in your 7th house of relationships ever since Saturn and Pluto moved in. And Pluto moved into Capricorn back in 2008. So there has been this ongoing kind of death and dying and changing and things like just not necessarily being how you thought they were going to be. And also when Saturn moved into Capricorn about 2 years ago, that would have had an even stronger effect. And of course we've also had the South Node there as well in the sign of Capricorn. And I'm talking about Capricorn because this is a kind of Capricorn energy, really. This devil, this kind of establishment, government, all the kind of control. It kind of represents all the things that we allow to control us, purely because we let it. That's really what it's about, this energy. It's kind of down to us as to how much we allow this to have a complete hold on our life, or whether we kind of face it and do something about it. But in this card, although it's up the right way, whatever it was hasn't been faced, because this character here, Eros, is kind of running out on Psyche here, and she's kind of reaching out for him. So she doesn't want him to leave, but he's leaving because he feels betrayed. He feels that somebody like she has not been true to him. For whatever reason, that can be to do with third-party situations, but it has brought on this kind of defensive energy here with the Ace of Swords coming out as well. So there is this kind of very defensive, like I'm going to pick up my sword and I'm going to kind of hold on to it and I'm going to keep hold of it. And it is the same energy here. They are both Athene, the goddess of kind of not only justice but also kind of strategy and knowing how to work through things. Kind of similar with the chessboard as well, which I was saying earlier, like when people play chess, it's a great strategy game. You have to be a great strategist, which is, it was kind of invented literally for wars and battles. So that's what I feel this energy is about down here, is this ready to battle. Whoever this is, whether this is you, Cancer, or whether this is the other person, that it has been kind of like an ongoing battle. And neither one of you, I feel, has given any ground. You're both very defensive. There's a real defensive energy about this at the moment. Particularly with this Justice card coming out, because I feel, Cancer, that you really do feel as though you've been cheated in a way. I think so as well with this card here. I think this is you kind of running out of this situation. Again, it doesn't have to be masculine or feminine that I'm talking about energy-wise. It is just like, you know, this could be the man and this could be the woman. So it's not saying that every man is running out on every woman. I'm not saying that at all. It can be either. It can be whichever gender. And lastly, oh sorry, not lastly, because we also have this card here, the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man is saying that there has been a time of just kind of really feeling, I just feel a real kind of despondency here, like just this energy of I can't do anything about this. Almost like it was all too big, it was all too kind of massive, it was such a huge disappointment or such a huge kind of upset, like you had no choice in many ways but to kind of feel almost like you've been hung out to dry by the universe, not just by this person, whoever this is, but almost like, you know, everything was against you. Everything, it just felt like everything had turned against you, Cancer. It was very deep and very painful. And I say that as well because this eagle here comes down, swoops down every night and kind of takes out his liver, and every morning his liver regrows again so that the eagle can do this is Zeus's eagle, and it's Zeus that has hung him out to dry, so to speak. Zeus being the top god of the Greeks. You didn't go against Zeus and not get punished. So there may be this kind of feeling that, you know, because it's a major arcana card as well, that it was very kind of fated in a way, kind of there wasn't anything you could do about it. And maybe you still feel that way as well, Cancer. Maybe you're still feeling that there's nothing you can do about it. But the energy that is moving in is this 8 of Wands. So it's almost like something is completely really brought in this this new energy, this newfound kind of way of understanding life, because this can also be about perception as well. This can also be about kind of looking at things from a different angle, trying to see things differently, trying to understand things differently, trying to kind of really find your own inner understanding and your own connection to something much bigger than you, Cancer. And almost kind of like, yeah, just giving it over, because it's almost like I can't do anything about it. I'm just going to have to hand it over to the universe and see what happens. I'm just going to have to let it go. I'm just going to have to surrender myself to it and see what happens from there. And when you do that, this is the energy that comes in, and it's an energy of kind of things flowing, things kind of going with the flow, kind of just a general much more easygoing, joyful, starting to enjoy life again, starting to see the fun side of things, playfulness. Because the dolphins represent kind of a playfulness. There's also 2 of them together as well. So it's kind of saying that there is people around you who are kind of like, you know, if you open yourself up to this, you could go and have some fun, rediscover what life's about, really, rather than sitting in this kind of dark energy, which I feel is kind of what this has all been about up to now, is this kind of, and we have just come out of Venus in Pisces as well. I will say that Venus in Pisces energy can have an element of the victim and kind of poor me, and, you know, It's you know, yeah, poor me, nobody else has kind of experienced this, or nobody else is feeling this pain, and just this general energy as well of closing yourself down and closing yourself off. But I feel that that's going to change for you, Cancer. I feel that there's going to be a kind of almost like an enlightenment moment, almost like something coming on in your head, like a bulb moment where you're going to kind of go, right, well, you know, this is getting me nowhere. I need to get out and actually enjoy life. Get out there and do something about this, because just hanging around in my own space, which is, I feel, what kind of has been a process that you've been going through, which is important. It is important. Unlike the King of Wands, who just kind of wants to move on and not actually look at anything any deeper, the Hangman is saying, really, because it's a major arcana, it's like you can't really avoid this. The same with the Devil here as well. You can't really avoid these energies. So, what is in your head, Cancers, and what are you aware of is this energy, which is the Page of Wands, which again is more fire energy, more kind of creative, kind of uplifting. And in this card, he's literally leaving a situation behind. He's literally burning his way through that darkness that we were talking about down here. This kind of heaviness, this kind of belief that things are going to stay like this. It's like the Page of Wands is kind of saying, it's time to leave that situation. It's time to start afresh. It's time to, again, it's a new energy. And so both of these started off with this card here, this Page of Pentacles, and this Page of Wands is in your head. So this is what's below and this is what's above and what you're aware of. So there's kind of a new, younger energy that's been around you for a while. A young energy always needs, as I was saying earlier, always needs to be nurtured. It always needs to be kind of given the ability to grow, evolve, mature. But it only does so by experiencing things. If it doesn't experience, then it stays in the same place, the same spot. So basically what he's doing here is he's leaving that energy behind. He's saying enough's enough. And this has come out with a whole kind of story as well. You've got the Ace of Cups here, which I feel is kind of, I feel that this is you kind of, the energy that was around has been very kind of, very passion driven, very kind of, I would say, very strong sexual energy between you and whoever this other person was, but almost like it was too much, almost like it burnt out, almost like it, not that it was, how can I put this? Almost like this became the kind of, the center, the kind of the it's a very sexual driven energy that I'm feeling here, very, and almost like that was the problem as well as the thing that kind of kept the relationship together, but it also became the problem. It also became Because here, if you see, she's this little figure down here. She's clutching her heart. You can see she's got this tiny, tiny little red heart, and she's kind of holding it to her chest. But because it's upside down, I also get the feeling here as well with this kind of, yeah, just this kind of, it became too much. It was almost like it was spilling out into everything, and it kind of clouded the actual love within the relationship somehow. That it just became a very sexual thing between the two of you. And that everything else, whatever everything else was, kind of, just get the feeling of this kind of fire. It just looks to me as though it's all on fire. Just this massive kind of on fire, and it all became a really fiery relationship. Again, with this with this King of Wands here, and the 10 of Wands as well. There's a lot of fire around here, and the 6 of fire as well you've got here as well. So there's a lot of fire energy, which is also, I mean, it's great for creativity, and it's great for passion and drive, but it can also become extreme, and I feel that that's what kind of happened in this scenario here. It became extreme, and so somebody had to leave this situation because it was too much. So somebody took their fire and their passion, and they kind of used it, if you like, to light up their own darkness, to light the way, to kind of find a new path for themselves, which was a risk. More fire here as well. And this is all about risk taking. This is all about kind of, so he's been offered this crown down here, so it's kind of saying to me in reverse, it's kind of saying that whatever had been offered previously had to be left behind. But that in itself was a risk, because you didn't know where you were going to end up. You didn't know what was going to happen here, Cancer. But it happened very quickly. Whatever it was happened very quickly. There was very fast movement here. And again, because it's upside down, I just get the feeling that all of this was reluctant. All of this was kind of almost in a way forced into a situation where you had no choice. Because you also have the 9 of Swords here as well. So it would have been something that had a lot of stress in it, a lot of regrets in it, a lot of kind of feeling of something that you couldn't get out of your head. You couldn't get out of your head. It was just kind of replaying over and over again. It was just like those nightmares, sleepless nights, just kind of worry, stress, fear. Again, a very dark place to be in. With the 7 of fire here. I also feel as well, with this King here in reverse, that there was a complete lack of communication. That everything got stopped. Everything just cut off. That he just cut off everything, this King. Whether this is female or male, it was kind of just cut off. That energy between the two of you. And this is you, Cancer, kind of standing up for yourself here. Standing up for who you are. And not allowing that person, whoever that person is, back to allow them back in, I would say, into kind of, it's like you had to be really strong here, and you had to really kind of stand your ground, and you really had to let this person know that you were not willing or ready to forgive them. I feel that that's what this is about, that you really had to stand your ground here, and maybe still are standing your ground here as well, because it's also come out with the Empress in reverse here. So I do get the feeling that there's a female, that this female, whoever this female is, Cancer, is somebody who you kind of see as everything. They have the ability to be everything to you, but it's in reverse. So you're kind of holding back from this, you're standing your ground, you're keeping your distance as well, even though there may now be some communication. The communication was cut off. It was completely kind of, modern expression, ghosted that person. And there's every possibility that it could have been this queen here, who is very similar in energy to the Empress, and put her up the right way. They're both very earth related. They're both very, in this card she's kind of permanently pregnant with potential as well, this Empress. It's like she always has this kind of, and that's why I think for you, this card, she was everything, because you had all that potential. But all that potential being in reverse, a major arcana card in reverse, all that potential never went anywhere. It kind of just stayed stuck. It kind of, yeah, it just didn't have a future. There was no. And I don't think this isn't just about babies, although it could be for some of you. Some of you may have hoped to have like family and long-term happiness with this person, Cancer, but and again, it doesn't have to be the female, because the potential is all about what somebody has to offer, the potential of that relationship, the potential of that situation, what can grow from it, what can it give you, what can it feed you, how can it feed you on a physical level, a spiritual level, mental level, everything. Like I said, it was like this was your everything. And so I get the feeling that it could well have been a earth sign. Doesn't have to be, but it could have been Taurus, Capricorn or Virgo. These are very grounded, down to earth queens. Their energy is very solid. They're very practical. They're very motherly. They're very caring. But they do also have another side to them. But if it was in reverse, I would be saying that this can also be very unforgiving, which I feel kind of is this as well. If you have the Empress in reverse here, this is a very unforgiving energy, because she represents Mother Nature. And if you think of Mother Nature when she's at her wildest, it's a very unforgiving energy. This can also relate to the mother energy as well. So for you Cancers, being Cancerians, you need to have like this kind of mother energy very strongly in your life. So you can also connect to people who have this kind of motherly side to their nature, because you need that mothering, particularly if your own mother, Cancers always have strong connections to their mother, whether it's a good connection or a bad connection, there will always be a strong connection to the mother. And so there could have been elements of that seen here as well. But she would have been somebody who you found very or he would have been somebody who you found very comforting, just really comforting, somebody who you felt really in tune with, and just like you, almost like I'm getting this image kind of just wanting to lay your head in their lap and just kind of have them soothe you, and kind of, and that's the energy that's moving away, but it's been around for a while. So there could still be in the background of your mind, this energy could still be there. If you're not communicating with this person, it doesn't mean that you've kind of let them go. But it has come out with the 3 of air, or the 3 of swords, which to me is a kind of ghost energy. So it's kind of saying to me that this is something that has been from the past, in the sense that you're still kind of affected by it. It's still having a strong effect on you. And she is kind of holding herself. It's kind of like you're guarded, you're hurt, you're in pain. The heart still needs to be healed. But there is this, if you see, it's kind of, I just see it as this kind of ghost-like figure, which kind of talks to me of something that's kind of still hanging around in your head, shall we say. It's still in your energy, it's still around in your mental energy as well. It's still kind of causing grief. And it could also be the same for whoever this is as well, Cancer. They could also be having the same kind of feelings, unbeknown, because I feel that neither of you are really kind of communicating anything. You're both kind of ghosting each other. But it has come out with the 10 of air, which is saying to me that, again, a 10, it's an ending, it's a completion, it's a kind of saying, let it go. Let that go. Whatever this was about, it's time to let that go. It's time to move on from that. It's time to say enough's enough. Because here she's kind of shedding, not shredding, shedding the feathers. So for me it kind of says that this is the old, and you have to like get rid of the old feathers in order for new ones to grow, in order for something else to take its place. So you need to be able to kind of release this. This is all about releasing. It's a much more gentle card than the normal kind of 10 of swords, which can be very severe. So I feel you've kind of reached a place now where you're not in that kind of 9 of swords energy. Wherever that went, I seem to have lost that. 9 of swords energy, here we go. It's 9 of swords energy, which is much darker and much harsher. Whereas this is a lot more kind of a kind of healing. I kind of get the feeling of healing with this card, that there's a healing process that's taking place here. That you're allowing yourself to heal from whatever hurt and pain has been caused here. And as we move into the future, we find the 3 of Cups, which is, again, it's in reverse. And so I get the feel it's usually a celebration, this card. It's usually about celebrating. But what they're celebrating is the coming together of Psyche and Eros. And what you have to remember about this card is that she can't actually see him. Although he's there, he's kind of invisible. He's not really there to her because he is immortal. He is a god. He's the son of Aphrodite, Cupid, Eros, who fell in love with Psyche because he stabbed himself in the ankle, I believe it was, with his own arrow. Cupid's arrows of love, which he fires from his bow. So there is something here about things not being, I wouldn't say honest, but I would say almost like there's a sense of feeling like you're standing on your own here, even though you may have somebody in your life. Whether this is the same person here or not, I don't know. I don't know whether that is the same person, Cancer, or whether this is you trying to kind of heal yourself by moving on. And if that is the case, then it's like you're not really ready. You haven't really healed. And you're still not kind of revealing your true self. If anything, this has kind of made you feel that it's going to be very difficult to love again. Because this was very painful, this situation. Whatever caused this situation, it was very painful. And this could be a third party situation. Often the Three of Air can relate to a third party. So for some of you Cancerians, that could well be the case. It's not going to be the case for all of you, but it could be for some of you. So this kind of celebration of you moving on, I feel, Cancer, is something that's not really very honest. It's not really very, it's almost like you're moving into this energy here. The King of Wands energy, which is kind of, as I was saying earlier, it can be a very superficial energy. And a kind of sense of, it can be playing the field as well with this energy. There's kind of a feeling of that being around this card. That you're not going to give your heart away. You're not going to trust somebody enough. So the celebration here isn't really a celebration, because also it's come out with the Queen of Fire in reverse, and here this is her heart being illuminated, but because it's in reverse, I get the feeling that this is about you kind of hiding that, keeping that heart hidden, that you're not wanting to open up. You're not wanting that person, that other person, to really get to know you. But you do also have the Star, so there is a energy here of a healing taking place. A very Aquarian card, and we are in the season of Aquarius at the moment. But Aquarius is also about people as well. It's not just about kind of the one person. So you may find that you need to be around people. You may well find you need community. You need to find people that you feel that you can trust and that can truly understand you as a person, Cancer. This sense of kind of you maybe even that, you know, when you do this for a while, you're going to realize that it's not really what you're looking for. And you see here, she's kind of, she kind of looks to me as though she's not overly it's not like she's looking away. She's looking away. She's looking into the distance. She's looking, almost like looking for something else. And she's carrying this pot, which kind of represents the water of life, or kind of medicine, if you like, as well. This healing process, this needing to heal yourself here, which is what I think you're going to realise, Cancer, on a deeper level. But it has also got this card here, the Five of Earth, which often talks about an energy of being kept kind of in the, like, shut out, shall we say, in the cold. But I feel more that this is about you how can I put it? Again, it reminds me of this card here, the way she's kind of holding, she's kind of crossing her hands across her chest here. It's quite difficult to see, but there she's got a hand across her chest, and she's got the same thing here. It's the same kind of energy, and there's almost the same kind of ghost feel about this as well, almost like blending into the background, kind of not wanting to be seen or recognized, or and I just get the feeling again that this is you kind of finding it difficult to fit in, finding it difficult to step out of your comfort zone. Almost like you've just kind of blended into the background. You don't want to be seen, you don't want to be recognized, you don't want to be, it's like, I just want to blend into the background. I don't want to have to think about things. And it also have the King of Pentacles here in reverse. So the King of Pentacles is saying to me that you're very much focused on your finances, very much focused on your job, your work, your position. But again, it's in reverse, so it's kind of saying to me that although you're very focused on it, it's not really giving you much satisfaction. Not really something that you are finding any real joy in. It's like, yeah, it's great, I've got it, it's there. But and you also have the Star again. It came out twice. So you've got this star here, and then you've got this star here with Pandora's box. And this star up here, which is a healing star. They're both very healing stars. And she's looking up at this star now. So it says to me almost like you're realizing that that's what needs to be done. Whereas in this one, you're kind of looking away from it, almost like, I don't want to recognize that, I don't want to go there, I don't want to think about it. Whereas in this one, it's almost like, okay, I've done all this, I've put myself through all this. And there is also in this card a sense of kind of biting off more than you can handle, or more than you can chew, more than you can kind of deal with or cope with. Almost like you're kind of putting yourself through it. Almost like a realization of, like, you know, I'm just making it worse for myself. So Cancer, you kind of start focusing more on this. But it did again come out in reverse. So this could be a long, ongoing process, and you may find that you've got to go through a lot of this before you get to this. but you're kind of beginning, shall we say. You're getting to the early stages of wanting to do something about this. And you have the Queen of Swords that's come out here as well. So the Queen of Swords is all about kind of the intellect, the mind, and pouring out these emotions into very barren soil. The colour of her dress always reminds me of the kind of throat and the heart chakra energy, and I do believe there is actually another chakra that is kind of developing, shall we say, in some people, which is this turquoise, to do with the thymus gland. But it's all about heartfelt communication, and I think this is where you're going to get to with this healing. It's like you realise you can't kind of keep ignoring this. You have to focus on it. You've got to deal with it. You've got to speak your truth, which is something I feel that you haven't been doing here with this king down below. It's like you shut off, you shut down. But you have, interestingly, got this couple here. You've got both the king and the queen of swords here, and you've also got the queen and the king of pentacles here as well. So these are both very powerful energies when they're upright. This is kind of very much the physical realm, the doing realm, that yeah, the kind of physical doing, manifesting things in the reality realm, whereas this is, I feel, saying that you need to have somebody who you can intellectually connect with. So I also feel that you need to be able to connect with them on a physical level, in the sense of being very having the same energies, in the sense of like you're both very nurturing in a down to earth kind of way. Very practical minded, but also that this is very important as well, that there needs to be this connection on a mind level. You need to be able to really use your intellect, Cancer. Otherwise you just feel bored. You kind of, I would say on some level you will just kind of switch off as well if you're not stimulated mentally, if this person doesn't kind of match you. That's what I think these are about. There needs to be a match here for you, and I think you feel as though you found that here. And so you may decide to open up the kind of doors of communication, or the path of communication here, Cancer. You may decide that you're going to try and resolve the issues, but if you do, you're going to do it without all the emotional, which for a Cancerian is not going to be easy, because you're all about emotion and feelings and intuition. But you will be, what's the word here, you will be using this, like this sword of truth. It's like you'll be in this place where you will know what's true and what's not true. You'll be able to tell almost instantly if somebody's being honest with you, or whether they're just kind of BSing you. And you may find yourself kind of moving into this more harsher energy feeling. This harsher, more kind of less, what's the word I'm looking for here? Less, I hesitate to say the word soft, but less, I know it's in my head, I'm just trying to put it out there. Less easy, less kind of, I would say less easy going, because I don't think that's what it is either. It's just this energy. I get this feeling of you being more kind of discerning. Maybe that's what it is, more discerning. And you'll kind of also be more likely to say how you're feeling and say no if it doesn't feel right for you. So that's the energy that I'm going to leave that there. That's the last card in that part of the reading. I was supposed to pull one of these cards earlier as well, but for some reason I forgot. So I'm going to quickly pull you a crystal card, Cancer, and see what we come up with for you. Crystal card, please, for Cancer. Can't do them that way. The cards are far too big. Okay, so crystal card for Cancer. Crystal card for Cancer. What is the crystal for Cancer? What is the crystal that Cancer would be best having about their person at this point in time? Crystal card for Cancer. There we go. And what have we got? Rutilated quartz. Nurturance. It's all about you nurturing yourself, Cancer. Number 35. I should just quickly look this up. Number 35. Where are we? Nope, 33, 35. Rutilated quartz. Okay, Cancer, it says, you are never alone. The universe and Mother Earth are your guardians, always at your side. A guardian's responsibility is to watch over and foster those in its care. A guardian is a protector, an agent always looking out for its ward's best interests, providing the environments and experiences which you need for learning and growth. Guardian angels and other beings called guides are special emissaries from the universe that share the responsibility of helping you through each incarnation. They prepare the way and clear a path for you. The wealth that your guides provides comes in many guises. It might be financial in nature, an inheritance, a contest, jackpot, or a raise. It also takes other forms of fulfillment: romantic love, health, a happy family, a rewarding profession, friends, or peace of mind. With this universal wealth, there is no lack of or emptiness. As you prosper, you live well, you do well, and you are well. You are in the fullness of well-being. In the human vehicle, the awareness of emptiness and fullness resides in the solar plexus or third chakra. The third chakra is located just above your navel, near the stomach. If you're feeling hunger, your gut will tell you so. But what kind of hunger is it? The physical vehicle asks, is there food and water? The emotional self asks, is there love? The soul asks, is there peace? Are you currently dealing with an emotional or spiritual emptiness in your life? You may notice that along with other feelings of distress, you feel physically empty as well. This hollow feeling causes many people to eat when they are unhappy and is at the heart of eating disorders. Those who eat to fill this void feel as though they are literally going to starve to death. On a conscious level, they may not understand the reason they are driven to eat. It is not self-indulgence or weakness of character. It is an act of survival. In the womb, most of you had no concern about your well-being. Your mother provided your nourishment for you. Her body was your safe harbour. The last time you may have felt real security might have been in the womb. Once out in the world, physically separated from your provider, you doubted whether your meals would appear when you needed them. Perhaps someone else's bodily demands would indicate when you would be fed. This could also be to do with this card here, as I was saying earlier, Cancer, about the mother and your connection with her. This anxiety carried over into childhood and later into adulthood, where it mutated into generalized feelings of uncertainty about whether your needs would be met. Now, when you are hungry, you experience unconscious anxiety similar to the kind you had as a baby. Even though a full stomach is as close as the next fast food restaurant, your concerns lie much deeper. The nourishment you need most does not come from physical food. What you crave is manna from heaven, the caregiving that outpours from the universe to you, cosmic TLC. Once you are filled with the nurturance that the universe provides, there will be no gnawing in your belly. Knowing you are cared for and cared about will quiet the hunger pains. We are a collective, a mineral combining clear quartz and the golden fibres of rutile. We hold the colours and energies of both the crown and the solar plexus chakras. The crown chakra is a special connecting point where universal nourishment pours into the body. The solar plexus chakra is the location that absorbs the sun's energy like a solar collector. Working together, we are a superconductor of energy, a conduit between those two power plants, allowing humans to draw cosmic soul food into the body. We are a physical embodiment of universal nutriment. Why have you drawn our card today? Do you have concerns about your well-being? Do you wonder if you will be okay? Many of you feel adrift, without any real support. Most of you are wishing that someone would say, everything will be all right. The universe can be that loving friend. So Cancer, that's where I'm going to leave it for you. But I do find it very interesting because that's kind of what this reading has seemed to have been about. You're needing to nurture yourself. Nurturance. Rutilated quartz. So it might be a good idea, Cancer, for you to see if you can get hold of a piece of this. Carry it on your person. Sleep with it under your pillow. Take it in the shower. Kind of just keep it in your pocket, play with it, however you feel. But this seems to be the energy that is most needed for you at this moment in time. And I will just very quickly pull you a Namaste Blessing card. Like I said, I usually do this before I start the reading. I have no idea why I haven't, but I didn't. So I'm just going to get on and do it. Hopefully we'll have time. There we go. You got the blessing of letting go. Letting go. There we go. Releasing and letting it go, Cancer. Whatever it is that you need to let go of. Let's see what it says. It says, free yourself from negative entanglements by letting go of emotional ties, beliefs and outdated ways of thinking that no longer serve you. You have the power that which you let go will transform into an endless blessing. And that's what I was saying earlier about these feathers being old and no longer needed. And so they're making way for the new, so you can fly. Because you can't fly with old feathers, or not enough feathers. So that's where I'm going to leave your reading, Cancer. I hope it has been of some help to you. Please could you like my reading up, thumbs it up, because that helps me to get the message out into a bigger YouTube world. The more likes it gets, apparently, the more it gets put out there. Also, thank you to those who have subscribed to my channel and those who have subscribed recently. Welcome, thank you very much. And please could you subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Also tap the bell to get the videos that I will be putting out in the future. I have other videos online. I try to do all the major astrological events. I've just recently done a full moon in Leo reading, and I will also be doing the next new moon at the end of February. And any other important astrological events that I think are worth doing, I will also be doing them too. And I will also be putting out more of the zodiac signs over this coming week or so. Also, if you feel that this could be of any help to anybody else that you know at the moment, any other Cancerians, please share it. And I wish you all the best and hope to see you again soon, Cancer. Take care.